morning, folks. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Cassandra Terry, the mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello. Welcome to my favorite edition of the week, the Thursday edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, Thankful Thursday. I love Thankful Thursday because I can tell you unequivocally how gratitude has enhanced my life by changing my focus. I began my day. So I've already had my morning gratitude practice before I jump out of bed. I just rest in the softness, the firmness of the mattress, the softness of the pillows. I'm grateful for that, right? I'm grateful that I'm becoming conscious and seeing a new day full of hope, full of possibilities, full of grace and blessings. And I start from there. I start to think about my week so far. Sometimes I go global, big. I think about my life and how far I've come and the many things that I've been blessed to see and to experience in this life. I'm grateful for the month of April. Lots of birthdays in my family. So April's a big celebration month, birthdays and anniversaries. So we can just go from day to day, week to week, and there's someone or some event to be celebrated. So just grateful. Gratitude just grabs you and it adjusts you. When you're in a bad mood, when things are not going well, when you're frustrated or overwhelmed, in that very moment, you can change things in an instant. How do you do that? Just stop for a moment and start to think about something that you're grateful for. Have you ever been really mad at somebody, really in an argument with somebody, but it's somebody that you care about? It's a relationship that's going to continue. It could be your spouse. It could be a sibling. It could be anybody. But you know that person, even though this situation has you really upset, that person is someone that means something to you. They're valuable to you. So what you say in that moment is really important because we can apologize later and try and mend broken fences, but we can't ever take back the words that we say. And sometimes those words linger on well beyond us, well beyond the circumstance, and they can alter relationships. So if you want to diminish your opportunity for doing that, being so focused on winning the battle that you lose the war of maintaining that relationship, start in that moment to think about why that person is even in your life, why they matter to you. What are you grateful for about that individual? If you can have the mental fortitude, the discipline in the heat of the moment to think about why you're grateful for the individual that has you heated in the first place, first of all, I applaud you because it's not easy. It's the last thing that you want to think about. But with practice, right, with discipline, we're capable of doing anything. And so I encourage you, when you find yourself in that moment, to try and think about why you're grateful. Just one thing that you're grateful for with that individual that you're at odds with. And immediately, as you lean into that gratitude, your frustration, your anger, your overwhelm, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it starts to dissipate a little bit because we cannot be grateful and angry at the same time. Those two emotions just don't coexist. So as you're thinking about what you're grateful for, it allows you to take a breath. It allows you to create space between your emotions and the situation that caused them so that you can respond instead of react. It gives you just enough time. If I'm mad at Jay, but I'm thinking about what a great guy he is overall, he really messed up this time. He really hurt my feelings, right? But overall, he's really contributed to my life. I'm grateful that he shows up every day. I'm grateful that we've had sidebar conversations and we've gotten to know each other beyond the screen, right? I'm grateful that he shared his family and his life with me. And in that gratitude, whatever the situation is, starts to not be as big, not punch quite so hard because you've changed your focus. You've moved your focus from the emotions of the situation to the important part of the situation, the two people that are in it, right? And if my relationship with Jay matters, then I should be a little bit more careful about how I handle him. Even in the heat of the moment, I can grab that gratitude and go, man, if that guy didn't do anything else, he shows up. He can be counted on. He's always in my corner. And that starts to play in my head. And all of a sudden, all the things that he's done to make me grateful starts to outweigh or at least dim a little the frustration of the situation that we're in at that moment. And then I can relax, I can breathe, I can gather myself. And when I speak, it's a thoughtful response versus an emotional reaction, because those emotional reactions can be weapons. We weaponize our words. We allow our emotions to weaponize us and have us just coming at people with the claws out. And as soon as we do it, we go, oh gosh, why did I do that? Why did I say that? If I could just turn back time, I wouldn't. I was just frustrated. I didn't mean to. And now I've had this realization. I can go back to Jay and I can apologize. I imagine he would forgive me, but he still has the wound of those words, the wounds of that experience that needs to heal. And depending on how it heals, it may alter our future interactions. He may have seen a side of me that he didn't realize was there. And now he's a little bit more cautious. I don't want to push that button again because I don't want that venom from her coming my way. So now the relationship is altered and it's not free flowing and organic. He's on pins and needles. He wants to be careful about how he approaches me because he doesn't want to hear or feel, experience what he did from me before. Doesn't mean he didn't forgive me. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to continue the relationship, but because he's human, a cautionary flag has been raised. And how he deals with me and handles me is a little different. That has altered the relationship. One bad moment, one bad, outburst alters the relationship between me and somebody that's important to me. We don't want that. It takes just a moment, a few deep breaths, right? Pause before we speak. Lean into the gratitude of the individual on the other end and allow that to help you. We can do that with our jobs all the time. Jobs get frustrating. Sometimes we have to work too hard, too many hours. We don't like the work we've been assigned. It can go on and on and on. And before you know it, you've forgotten the other side of the story. You've forgotten that your livelihood is enriched by that paycheck. You've forgotten the skills that you've learned, the relationships that you've created. You've forgotten all the good because you're so frustrated and focused on whatever situation is stressing you out at the moment. I can step back at any time and go, oh, they're driving me crazy on the job. And that could be my focus. And there could be some truth in it, but that doesn't mean that it's serving me well, right? So I can stop and think, man, twice a month, without a doubt, that paycheck shows up and I'm able to cover my bills. I'm able to build my savings. I'm able to take care of my family and my lifestyle. I've learned skills. Even in the difficult times, I've been stretched and I've learned things that I didn't know before. There's been a lot of goodness that's come out of that job. And when we shift our thinking, all of a sudden, we have a new attitude about it and we approach things differently and we enjoy the process more. Now this job doesn't become this evil thing that you're so frustrated about, but you reconnect with the goodness of it as well. This person doesn't become all of a sudden an enemy, somebody that you don't want to have anything to do with. You lean into the gratefulness and you do a better assessment. Sometimes the assessment is that it's time for me to move on. I'm no longer served in this situation. I'm no longer able to be my best self. But that is an assessment and a response based on your boundaries, not an emotional moment where you had a full letdown because you got allowed yourself to get so triggered, get so upset. Gratitude helps you. It moves you from that negative focus into a more positive headspace so that you can make good decisions. You can show up as your best self, right? You decide. You don't allow your emotions to drive the car. They're in the car with you because they're your warning signals. They're letting you know if a boundary's been crossed, something's not happening the way that it should. So they grab your attention so that you can do a good assessment of what's going on. But don't allow them to be in control because they will take you right off a cliff. They will take you right off a proverbial cliff that you never intended to jump off of. But because your emotions were in control, you just leaned into them and you went and you went and you said whatever you felt. The brain shut down. And until you've completely run through that emotional experience, it that hadn't clicked back on. And then you're like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I never meant to say that. I never meant to behave that way. I didn't want them to see me that way. I'm so embarrassed. I feel so bad. All this stuff after the fact. And sometimes we get there, we're human, and we have to go back and we have to try our best to mend the fence that we just kicked down. But when we lean into gratitude early in those circumstances, we regain control. We regain our ability to think and to process and to decide what's the best next step. What should I say? What should I not say? I'm pretty quick-witted. So when I'm upset, I know without a shadow of a doubt, I can say that one thing that's really going to pierce you in your heart. I know that. So I'm very thoughtful before I speak. I'm making sure that I've smoothed out the edges, that I've calmed myself down, and that I'm addressing the situation, not bulldozing my way through. There are times when, especially when I was younger, when I didn't have nearly as much control over that tongue. And I said some things, there's still things that pop up in my head every once in a while. I'm like, oh Lord, I can't believe I said that. That was so dumb. That was so heartless. I was not thinking at all. That was a pure feeling, emotional response. And I left some ick behind that I'm still trying to clean up. We don't have to go that route. When we do, yes, we fix it. But man, it's so much better if you can grab a hold of the tool of gratitude and allow it to shift you from that negative space into a neutral space and eventually into a positive space so that you see the situation differently and you're not so hyper focused on that one thing that's really driving you batty, right? Because if that's what we're focused on, that's where our response is going to come from. And it's not even a response at all, it's a reaction. And we do not want to be reactionary people. I don't want to leave a trail of hurt feelings and broken hearts behind me. Even if in that moment I feel like whatever I'm about to give them, they deserve, I know better. I know better deep down inside. I would much rather have a conversation and me and whoever's on the other end get to a better place. Even if we decide that we're not going to spend time together anymore, we decide that it's not that this relationship has run its course. I can maturely have that conversation, make that decision, move on, wishing that person well, be able to be in the same space with them and have a conversation here or there. It doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be negative. And people that I can't disagree with without it devolving into those types of situations, I choose not to have in my space. I make a choice, even if you're my family. If you bring nothing but negativity, if I can't have mature conversations without you calling names and melting down, we can't coexist at the same space and time because I can't, I choose not to have that in my world, no matter who you are. Protecting my peace. I only get this one life. And I'd like for it to be good and as positive and productive as possible. So I have to mind my thinking. I have to mind who I allow in my environment, to mind my inputs. What am I watching? What am I letting in? Right? It's important. But gratitude is so powerful. And I want to share this quote by Oprah Winfrey. And it really sums up the power of gratitude really, really succinctly. And it's exactly what I've been talking about. Gratitude can transform any situation, it alters your vibration, moving you from negative energy to positive. She said it in a nutshell, what I've been saying for the last 12, 15 minutes, right? It's moving you from a place of negative energy to a place of positive energy. And it's no more than a choice, guys. We choose, even though we don't think we do because things are happening so quickly, but we choose to step into that negative space and to spew that negative energy. And because we make that choice, we can make the opposite choice. We can choose not to do that. I'm not going to speak badly of those around me. I am not going to participate in the bad behavior. I am not going to allow the daggers to come out and pierce people when I'm upset. It's a choice. We are making choices all day long. And I'm just asking you to lean into gratitude, to have that as a tool to realize how powerful that it is so that it can help you show up as the best version of yourself and mean it at any point in time. Because life will keep lifing. Things are going to happen, right? But you've got tools, you have skills, you have abilities to help you maneuver through those difficult situations. And on Thursdays, we talk about my favorite one, gratitude, because it's easy. It doesn't take anything but practice. I practice waking up in the morning and saying three things that I'm grateful for and doing the same thing at night. And I practiced it and I practiced and practiced and practiced. And eventually it became my default. I don't have to think about it anymore. When I wake up, as I'm waking up, my brain already goes there. And I start to think about gratitude. I was running a little late one day and almost hopped out of the bed, and my brain caught me. What am I grateful for? Because I can do that even as I'm starting to move. It doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take space, it doesn't take equipment. It's just me choosing the mindset that I'm going to operate from. And I want you to be that mindful of who you are and how you show up. Because when you're that mindful, you are creating a tomorrow that you actually want to go into. When we're on autopilot and we're just reacting to whatever life throws us, and we have no vision for who we are and no plans for how we're going to show up, we're just following the bouncing ball, just bouncing around all over the place. We have completely given up our control. Who wants to live like that? Not me. Grab your control back, and you do it in the easiest way, just by realizing that you have choices and consciously making those choices, right? I'm only human. I was really mad. I couldn't help myself. Yeah, you could. You could. You just have to decide that you want to show up differently, and that it's important to you. Because the things that are important to us, we figure out how to get them done. And gratitude is such a simple one. It's not requiring new skills, and we don't have to go to school. We don't have to do anything but change our thinking, change our focus. I am going to focus on abundance. I'm going to focus on the gifts. I'm going to focus on what I have versus what I lack. It's a choice. And you can talk yourself through it. This situation is really frustrating. I am so mad right now. But I know even right now, there's something to be grateful for. What am I grateful for? And just start making your list. And I promise you, within a matter of minutes, you'll feel better. You'll be in more control. And because your focus is different, you move from being overwhelmed by the issue to being in a place to find a solution so that you can move through the issue and come out better on the other side. And it's so nice when we model that for our kids and for other people, because now we're impacting and making our portion of the world a little bit better. We're sharing those skills with others, and we're learning how to communicate. I think Jay, one day Jay said, raise your communication, raise your level of communication, not your voice. So don't yell at me. Communicate with me in a way that I can understand, right? Be that example in the heat of the moment. Are you raising your communication skills, leaning into those? Or are you raising your voice and triggering and making the situation just that much worse? When you yell at somebody, they're not listening to you. Your point is not being received. They're protecting themselves. They're either preparing for battle, they're getting ready to lock horns with you, or they're trying to shield themselves from the discomfort of that situation and they shut down. That could be your kids, it could be your employees, it could be your friend, it could be anybody. And when you become the one that people need to protect themselves from, that's not a good place to be. And a lot of times when we get in those modes of living, we don't even realize that it's us. We don't even realize that we've spun out of control to a point that we have people fearful of interacting with us, walking around on eggshells, not wanting to really be in our presence, tolerating us instead of enjoying us. We can avoid all that stuff. And gratitude is a huge vibration shifter. When I walk up to a person, and as I'm walking up, I'm thinking about, excuse me, what I'm grateful for instead of the last fight we had, right? It's a different conversation. It's a different energy that I bring in. And we all have that ability. But we have to lean in to that gratitude. Gratitude can transform any situation. It alters your vibration, moving you from negative energy to positive, where we really want to be in the grand scheme of things. We want to be in a more positive space, right? I think that's why you guys show up every day. I think that's why you continue to plug in and share your comments. You contribute to that positive energy. You soak it up, but you're also pouring it out. That's the beauty. What we bring in is what we have to give. So you guys are consistently soaking it up every morning, and then you're giving it right back to us. And I believe that you're giving it in your environment wherever you go after this. That's a beautiful place to be, right? So we have a few people who've dropped some comments. Conchita says, glorious grand rising on this thankful Thursday, blessed with another amazing day. Absolutely. My mom said, good morning, fam. Blowing from my heart is gratefulness. Love that song. And Sonia, hey, Sonia. She says, good morning, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you guys with us as always. Let's see, Mrs. Hardy, 57. I see you there as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. All right, Jay. I think I've grabbed the comments so far. I'd love to hear what you would like to share with us on Thankful Thursday.
Thank you, Cassandra. As you were talking, I was like, that Jay Pasquale, he sounds like a bad guy. Oh, but but I really I listened in and I said, there we have those relationships in our
Mhm.
lives, And we have people, like you said, we care about.
Mm-hmm.
And what people sometimes don't realize is the reason we fight so dang hard is because we love you. If we didn't care, we wouldn't fight to be in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if we just didn't want to be in it, we would jump right out of it. And if you are willing to fight, it should show the willingness of that person. But they don't nobody hears that through the screaming and yelling and you know name calling and things like that. So really, it really boils down to having that mindset when walking into issues like that, where
Mm-hmm.
you have that, what you were talking about, that mindset of gratitude for them being in your life for various reasons. What
Mm-hmm.
those reasons are, you've got to make that list.
Excuse
Just
me.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And making that, just like we make the list for ourselves to be grateful for the blessings that we have, maybe
Mm-hmm.
we should also make a list of things that we should be grateful for that person being in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really a tough situation because you're dealing with what's going on in the moment. But what
Mm-hmm.
about all the times before that moment?
All those other moments. Yeah.
All those other moments, do we just forget about those things? And and it's a model for our own gratitude in our own lives with what we're dealing with on a daily basis. If we have that same mindset, we can apply it each and every way possible to every part of our lives, making that list of things that we're grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
the relationship that we had, the the things that we currently have, the assets, the resources, the network, the people, all of those things that we take for granted sometimes. And I think that's where we need to start, is we need to start thinking about all the things that we take for granted. Stop, smell the roses. Stop, look at what's in front of you. Stop, just stop. Just stop and make a list. Um, and I'm gonna go to somebody in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
who we may know of. Do you remember Hannah's story?
Mm-hmm.
So Hannah was really having an issue with her husband's other wife. um, because back then, you know, some of them had more than one wife, right? And so Hannah was dealing with the other woman and saying, she was having an issue with that that deep feeling of not being blessed. And it was so painful to her. She went to the tabernacle and cried out to God. And she said, basically, if you promise to give me a son, I will give him back to you for lifelong service. And guess what happened? She got that son in Samuel. And on the day that she would keep her promise, not God, her promise, she took him back to Jerusalem to live the priest. And she didn't regret it because of the time that she had because Samuel came into her life, her son, at the begging of God. So, yeah, it can be a little painful for some of us when we raise children and we see them off. Sometimes it can be truly painful to let go and let them be adults and have them feel the pains that we felt as we were maturing. We don't want to see our kids go through any of that stuff, but we have to have a point of gratitude in those moments where we had them in our lives, right? Because we're talking about relationships, a relationship with your child and giving them up to life. It's difficult sometimes. It's difficult sometimes. We want to just hug them and, you know, keep them close to us and tell them we love them every day, right? But they've got to go out and be their own person. And I will go one step further. We have to give them up as parents to life. Imagine God and Him giving up His Son for our lives. And so the gratitude we're talking about comes from faith. And if we have faith and gratitude for the blessings that we have in front of us, if we take the time, stop, and recognize that even through the adversity, we still have these blessings. The children that we had in our lives who are now growing up to be their own person, we have to let them go. Imagine how God had to sacrifice and let go of His Son to be able for us to enter into the kingdom of heaven. That is the ultimate thankfulness and gratitude that we can provide to our Creator. Back to you, Cassandra.
Thank you for that, Jay. Absolutely. The ultimate sacrifice and the beginning of our gratitude. Foundational. Absolutely foundational. When you can't look around and find anything else, there's that. There's the fact that you're able to look around. You're still here. You're breathing. It's all about a mindset. What am I focused on? Where is my focus? Where the focus goes, the energy flows, right? And that space where we're putting our energy is exactly where we get busy creating, whether we realize it or not. We're creating this appearance of a life based on how we're focused on it. We can shift that appearance by shifting our focus. And in shifting our the appearance and our focus, we shift how we're experiencing this thing called life. We have so much more control than we realize. And that's what we try to remind you guys of week in, week out, day in, day out. But Thankful Thursday, guys, is an easy one. It's something that you can try right now. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe us, just grab it the next time you're in a difficult situation. Try it first thing in the morning. Try it throughout your day. I had a room last night and it was entitled Going from Mindful, Full, to Mindful. And one of the things that came up in the room was gratitude. But we talked about having a mindful morning routine, purposing it for yourself, being intentional about starting your day a certain way so that you set the tone for that day. And then checking in with yourself throughout the day, intentional pauses throughout your day where you check in. How am I doing? How am I feeling? What's going on within my body? What sensations are there? Am I stressed? Are the shoulders tight? Am I getting frustrated? Have I picked up some ick that I need to wash off? You can do it in a matter of moments. It doesn't take long. You just check in with yourself, see how you're doing, and if there's a shift that needs to be made, grab hold of some gratitude. Start to think about what you're grateful for and experience that shift. And now, instead of continuing your day from a place of frustration, right? We're in the IT space. So people are coding, people are testing, we're going through all kinds of meticulous, sometimes mundane things all day long. It is so easy to make a mistake when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're stressed. So it's better to step away from it for just a moment. Give yourself a break. Go for a little walk. While you're walking, mindful movement. Notice the goodness around you, the blue sky, the sun, the fact that you're able to move around, right? The fact that you can make a decision to get up and move away from it, right? There's no taskmaster standing over you telling you you can't move until they say so, right? We've evolved. Be grateful and allow yourself to reset. And then when you come back to whatever it is, you're operating from a solution based place instead of a frustration based place. The situation may not have changed, but your focus has changed. So you're able to manage the situation so much better. Mindful morning routine, pauses throughout your day to check in with yourself and reset. And then that gratefulness at night before you go to bed. You have, I always called it a my gratitude sandwich because I start and end my day with gratitude. But when you take those breaks throughout the day, you're having those gratitude snacks as well, right? It doesn't have to last you all day long. You can take those little breaks, reshift, and get right back into that mindset so that you're ready to be solution oriented. You're ready to be creative. You're ready to tackle whatever the task is at hand and do it from the point of your best self and not your frustrated, just really want to get out of here. I can't think because I'm so frustrated. When you find yourself, when you ever say to yourself, I can't even think, stop. Stop. You are not in a position to do anything well besides make a big mistake or mess up a relationship because of what you might say next. Stop. Give yourself the gift of space and allow yourself to breathe and recenter and then come back to it when you've gotten better control. And now you're ready to get back to work. Now you're ready to get back to the conversation. Now you're ready to get back to whatever it is that got you all worked up in the first place, and you're better able to handle it. So gratitude is an amazing tool that you can grab anytime for free, no charge. It's expensive to go back and fix the stuff that we break when we're all emotional. Trying to repair a relationship when you said something that absolutely punched somebody in the gut, right? When you've walked away from a situation and left somebody feeling abandoned and not cared for, when you've acted out on the job and now you're a little nervous as to how that next review is going to go. Living through those situations and trying to repair them is emotionally expensive. Gratitude's free. It's absolutely free of charge. And it will keep you out of that hot water that your emotions will throw you into so quickly. So just grab it, try it. If it doesn't work, come back and tell us we're all wet, we're full of it. But in the meantime, I dare you, I double dog dare you to give it a try. The worst thing that can happen is you stay in the same place. But the likelihood of that is slim if you really lean into it. You'll find yourself shifting. You'll feel that energy shift within your body. Your shoulders relax. The breathing is a little bit easier. The headache may even go away, right? But you see a person on the other end and not someone that you have to beat, someone that you have to really give it to them. You have to tell them off. I'm going to let you know how I'm feeling. How are you going to be feeling on the other side of it? If you think you feel bad now, hurt somebody that you really care about and see how you feel on the other side of that. Gratitude can preempt all of that stuff and allow you to manage it so much better because it transforms any situation. It alters your vibration, moving you from negative energy to positive. Brian, are you in a situation where you can weigh in and share with us your thoughts on gratitude? And my mom
Man,
says, "Great travel as always, Jay. Thank you."
I've been waiting to jump in on this one.
Come on in.
So, you mentioned your room from last night, which was an awesome room. And,
Thank you.
just let me start off talking about being grateful. One of the
Okay.
things that I was grateful for last night during your room was the the actual the actual actionable steps that you gave people to help them
Mm-hmm.
move from mindful to mindful, from mindful to mindful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gave
Mm-hmm.
actionable steps. One of the pet peeves I had growing up in the church was they tell you every Sunday, oh, do this and do that, but nobody ever tells you how to do it. You know what I mean? It's so frustrating, right? So last night when you gave those tidbits, I was like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. I don't know about everybody else, but it's great to tell me, I can change my life, but how do I do that?
How?
It's great
Yeah.
to yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great to know that I need to, but how do I do that? You did that. You did that. And
Thank you.
and another thing that resonates with me that you talk about all the time is the divine download. I'm gonna tell
Mm-hmm.
you a little story about divine downloads. But what I found, I'm gonna lead with this. What I found with divine download is that the more gratitude you express, the more grateful you are for where you are and what you have, the more you get those divine downloads, the more this information is just funneled to you that you need to do that thing. Now, you might not actually get the thing in your hand, but you will
Mm-hmm.
get the information you need to make that thing a reality. But you won't even get the information if you're not being grateful. That's a fact.
Right.
Divine download. So when when I was younger, I was in corporate. I stayed in corporate for about 10 years. I was
Mm-hmm.
in education for I was in education for about 5. I was in corporate for about 10. And in both of those environments, every time I was there, I was always the only black guy in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only good looking black guy, right? A couple other guys, but they didn't look like, right? so, and there's a point to that, right? What I
Okay.
realized was that when I was having these conversations, like I was always getting pushback from everybody that I was talking to. I would always
Mhm.
get pushback, no matter how great the idea was I had, no matter where I got it from and how effective it had been before. If I brought it up, I was getting pushback.
Mhm.
So I started at some point I started to get a little frustrated, right? I won't say mad, but I started to get a little irritated,
Mhm.
and I started lashing out in a different way. Well, what happened was the message that I was trying to put out there was received even less. So I started to bring it back in. I started to thank God for what I had. This is the truth. I remember going back to my apartment one night when I was up in Illinois, and I went back to my apartment and I just said, hey, I'm looking around. I got places all over the US. I've got a great family. Man, I'm not worried about these people up in here, right? Who cares if they understand what I'm saying or not, right? If they don't get it, they just don't get it. I know what I'm telling them is the truth. I know I'm doing this, and then something came to me. Hey, it's your delivery, man. You're a good looking guy, and you're confident. People don't tend to take that well in spaces where they don't know you. That can be perceived as arrogant. That can be perceived as that you talked about it a few weeks ago, overconfident, right? Where it turns from being
Mhm.
something productive to being something negative. So I check myself. And in checking myself, I got a divine download. Let me give you a communication strategy that can help. And he gave it to me. He titled it NSR, right? My creator gave me this strategy that completely changed my life. And it all started with gratitude. It flows over into everything that I do. The conversations that I have, you were talking earlier about when you have a problem with someone,
Mm-hmm.
instead of lashing out at them, take a minute, step back, and look at what you're grateful for about and with that person, and it'll change the way that you come at that person.
Yeah.
The next thing that you say to that person won't be something that's derogatory or negative or something that could be hurt. It'll be something to
Mm-hmm.
lift that person up, even if they're not lifting you up. Irrelevant. Gratitude is the only way that happens. That NSR strategy changed the game. It was everything for me because now I was able to not not look at what people weren't doing, but look at what God was.
Mm.
Gratitude.
Change your focus.
Change your focus.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I will share. Since you brought it up, it's a good point. We did the room last night. I ended it with strategies for mindfulness, and I did touch on a couple of them already, but I'll just give you guys the 5 that I shared last night. And the first one you heard me say already, the mindful mornings, starting your day with some sort of a mindfulness practice. It could be meditation, journaling. Maybe you're just sitting and sipping a cup of tea, um, prayer, whatever, however it is that you quiet your mind and allow yourself to get into the present moment. Do that first thing in the morning to set a positive tone for the day ahead. And then those intentional pauses that I mentioned, taking those short breaks throughout the day to check in with yourself, check in on how you're feeling, what's going on in your head. Just reflect and bring yourself back to the present. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. This is something that everybody should have in their back pocket. If you're personally anxious or you're around somebody who gets extremely anxious, and those times can turn into panic attacks where they feel like they've completely lost their ability to breathe. When you're feeling that overwhelmed, you have to anchor yourself. And the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique allows you to do that utilizing your senses. So you name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And it brings you back to the focus. It doesn't really matter what you say in that moment. That as you're doing the 5 and the 4, it's probably really hard. But the idea is it's taking you away from whatever is overwhelming you in the first place, and have you to that heightened state of anxiety, and has you to focus on the present moment. What's actually in the space around you. And when you change your focus, your breathing will start to become more rhythmic again and get back to a normal pace. Because when people are really anxious like that, that's one of the things that they lose. And they and, and as you're doing that, you're getting more anxious because now you're starting to get afraid and you feel like you can't breathe. Maybe I'm having a heart attack. All your brain is just spinning out of control, and it's everywhere except for right here in the present moment. So this helps to bring you back in. So you can just lean in and quietly speak to that person. You're not alone. I'm right here with you. Everything's going to be okay. I'm not going to leave you. Just come with me. Help me. Just for a minute. Tell me 5 things that you can see right now. They're probably going to think, what? What do they're going to think you're nuts. But at that moment, they're not able to think. They can barely breathe. So just a quiet, calm, supportive voice can really help. And you can do it in your head when it's you. When you feel yourself sliding into that anxious space, before you go over the edge and you're actually into a full-blown panic attack, start to ask yourself, what are 5 things that I can see right now? What are 4 things that I can touch? What's in my environment? What are 3 things that I can hear? 2 things that I can smell? 1 thing that I can taste? And as you're working your way down from 5 and getting closer and closer to 1, the anxiety starts to dissipate. the breathing returns to a more normal rhythm, and you settle in to right now because you're not focused on the stressor that heightened you in the first place. So just remember that if you are ever around somebody or it's you and you feel that anxiety coming up, this is a technique you can use at any point in time. Digital detoxes, setting aside time where you unplug from all your digital devices, you put everything away. It helps reduce stress, and it helps you to be more present and more, connected to the people in your environment. It's not uncommon for us to go out to a meal and do something and everybody's looking at the phone. We're not talking, we're not making eye contact, we're not really connecting at the level that we could because these digital devices have become such a part of our existence. Putting them away for a set time and choosing to just be. You could just be you by yourself or connecting with your family. Do a puzzle, talk about the day, figure out what's the best thing that happened to you today. When our kids come home and we say, how was your day? We all know what they're going to say, fine, and the conversation's over. But if you actually grab their attention and say, tell me, what's the best thing that happened to you today? Right? Was there anything that happened in your day that you would have changed? Because now they can't give you a one word answer, and it's causing them to think, and you're pulling out a little bit more information, a little bit more connection. And then that mindful movement that I spoke about is the last one. Incorporating some gentle movements into your daily routine, yoga, walking, a little stretching, whatever feels good to you. But they foster a state of mindfulness. And as you're focusing on the movement of your body and the sensations that you're feeling, it evokes a sense of peace and relaxation, which is what all of these things are about, getting you back centered into that place of mindfulness instead of where we typically operate being mindful. Our mind is full of distractions. Our mind is full of stressors. Our mind is full of concerns and worries and all the things that drive that anxiety and take us away from the peaceful existence that we were designed to have. But if you go through any of these 5 steps, I hope you use them all. They can really help you to recenter and become more mindful and spend more time in those places that are peaceful to you. All right. So my mom said, come on in, Brian. Exactly, Brian. Nobody ever tells you how to do it. I've said that so many times. You're preaching, Brian. So hopefully those steps will be helpful to you guys. I'm going to get them documented in some form or fashion and post them and get them out there so you guys can have them as a reference. That's one of the things. It's on my to-do list because they were well received last night. So I think it's a good resource that I can make available to you guys that you can pull out anytime and just really get into the default of peace. Because isn't that what we all really want at the end of the day? A peaceful existence. And that's the beauty of gratitude. It takes you from wherever you are back to a peaceful center because gratitude can transform any situation. It alters your vibration, moving you from negative energy to positive. Oprah Winfrey. So, Thankful Thursday. We've done it. I think we've said and done the things that we intended to say and do. So we are coming to the close of another edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, my favorite edition, Thursday, because I know just how powerful gratitude is. And that is our gift to you today, reminding you of that so that you can use it throughout your day, your week, your life to stay centered, to get yourself reset and experience your life in the most fulfilling, positive, peaceful way possible. We will be back here tomorrow for Focus Friday, where we will look at the focus in the same way and the power it is, the tool of focus in you moving from where you are to where you'd like to be and actually accomplishing your goals. Let's see. My mom said, great show, guys. Thank you very much, Mother. All right, we are going to call it a day. And thank you all for your attention and your engagement. See you back here tomorrow for Focus Friday.
Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you join us every week, Tuesday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Central Time for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. For advertising or
Chevy
sponsorship
truck.
questions, reach out to Cassandra or
Great to
any
see
member
you.
of the FAM Collective on their LinkedIn profiles. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.